Taiwan. I'm Liao with news from here in Taiwan and around the world. Donald Trump has won the 2024 U.S. presidential election, securing a second term in office after a campaign filled with dark and often violent rhetoric. Reactions have begun pouring in from around the country and the world. Kata's Quaranta reports.
Americans across the country, as well as leaders from all over the world, are reacting to the results of the U.S. elections, which continue to roll in. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu congratulated Trump on what he said will be his return to the White House. French President Emmanuel Macron and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky have also offered their congratulations, as have a number of other leaders.
Turn the page!
Meanwhile, in the U.S. state of Georgia, Trump supporters celebrated after it was called as a win for the Republican candidate. It was seen as one of the crucial battleground states, one that went to the Democrats in 2020.
She's a liar, she's deceptive, but Trump tells the truth. He took a bullet for us. He's a good American. He's all about America. She's all about immigrants. And so we don't like that. So then I think the Georgia voters, they saw that.
At a Democratic election night in Georgia, the feeling was more somber.
Somewhat shocked that the race is so close, given everything that has happened with Donald Trump, with everything that he has said, he's done, that he is looking to do. I'm really shocked that the race is as close as it is. It's unfortunate. I think it does say a lot about our country, though, and that's unfortunate.
Emotions are high across the U.S. as Americans grapple with the choices made by a divided electorate. Brian Wu and Cadence Quaranta for TaiwanPlus.
To understand more about the election results, Alec McDonald spoke to Wen-T Song, a non-resident fellow at the Atlantic Council's Global China Hub.
As this evening has unfolded and Donald Trump has now reached the 270 electoral votes to win the next presidential election, what are some of your key reactions as events unfolded?
What we seem to be seeing is a convincing Trump victory, that he has managed to crack through the so-called Rust Belt blue wall up north in places like Wisconsin, Michigan, and especially Pennsylvania. And so that seems to suggest that Trump has been making inroads into the blue-collar suburban white voters that Joe Biden managed to steal from Trump 4 years ago. Now Trump seems to be winning those very votes back, the votes that are essential for breaking through the blue wall up north. Trump also seems to have made inroads with Latino voters down in the southwestern Sun Belt states like Nevada, Arizona, as well as managed to secure a very convincing victory in the southeastern Sun Belt states like Georgia and North Carolina.
Why do you think U.S. voters moved in that direction further towards Trump's new platform, which we have seen be more isolationist or more protectionist towards the U.S.?
I think economy is one major factor. We know that the U.S. government has been using a massive stimulus package as a way to resuscitate the American economy after COVID. However, that has generated inflation, which is an issue that's definitely been felt across class lines, racial lines, and gender lines. That may explain one reason why there seems to be an anti-incumbent sentiment on the part of the voters. One other issue I think is about ongoing wars in Ukraine and Russia, as well as in the Middle East. Ongoing wars of long duration, I think at some point is going to create war weariness on the part of American voters. And the fact that war in the Middle East has proven to be particularly a contentious issue for the Democratic coalition as well, might have contributed to a lower than is desirable turnout on the Democratic side for Kamala Harris.
Taiwan is very much a factor here, especially as we are looking at a Republican-controlled Congress and a Republican-controlled presidency. Do you think, though, that a Congress which has traditionally been more friendly towards Taiwan might be able to continue supporting Taiwan despite Donald Trump's more protectionist tendencies?
I think for the congressional front, is going to be a major theater for Taiwanese diplomacy for the next 4 years. For we know that no matter the position of the executive of the presidential candidates on either Republican or Democratic side, on Congress, on Capitol Hill, there's significant bipartisan consensus on supporting Taiwan. So that's one reason why I think Taiwan will try to regain support in the U.S. political world by starting small district by district, congressman by congressman. So congressional action, legislative diplomacy, parliamentary diplomacy, these are going to be major fault lines for Taiwanese diplomacy vis-a-vis China for the next few years, for sure.
That was Atlantic Council Fellow Wen-T Song discussing the 2024 U.S. election results. U.S. voters have also cast ballots for 34 of the country's senators and all 435 of its representatives. Democrats lost their narrow hold on the Senate, with Republicans winning at least 52 seats. Republicans are also trying to defend their slim hold on the House of Representatives. They are now in the lead with at least 198 seats won. The U.S. has elected its first ever transgender person into Congress. Democrat Sarah McBride was voted in as U.S. Representative for Delaware. She defeated her Republican opponent, John Whalen III, for the state's only seat in the House. McBride has been a Delaware state senator since 2020. She chose to run as a House representative after incumbent Lisa Blunt Rochester chose to pursue a seat in the Senate. Recent conscripts in Taiwan are learning to fire rocket launchers as part of basic military training for the first time. Jaime Okan was at the range and brings us this report.
After weeks of training, these conscripts are testing their proficiency on Taiwan's domestically made Kestrel rocket launcher. Many said they were nervous about this first of its kind test.
红准实弹射击与在部校实施空操的感觉截然不同。虽然有些紧张与害怕，但想起授课教官所教的程序、步骤及要领，放下害怕的心情，顺利完成本次射击任务。虽然说这是第一次实弹射击，但我秉持着教官与干部给我的教育以及提醒，让我可以放下心中紧张的情绪。
Taiwan extended the length of mandatory military service from 4 months to 1 year in 2022 as part of a larger reform of its armed forces. Part of this included more realistic combat training, and now using this rocket launcher as a standard part of the country's military training. This test focuses on two main parts, accuracy and handling. Officers here say that they're hoping to get this weapon in the hands of as many people doing mandatory military service as possible. That's because it only takes about 5 days to really learn how to use the weapon. Taiwan's geography poses a big challenge for military planners in China, which would have to deploy troops by air or sea in an invasion. Analysts say that in the hands of a well-trained soldier, missile launchers like the Kestrel would prove effective in stopping vehicles from making it inland.
那可以提高它的火力就是在面对万一敌方有比较大的这个装甲车辆 armed vehicle 过来的时候，至少它可以立刻的反应。
But above all, many U.S. military planners say that Taiwan's shift to more modern weapons and tactics is just the first step in building a more effective defense.
For many, many years, conscripts didn't even fire these weapons. What I would really like to see again is the next step moving beyond this to actually seeing small units out there maneuvering with these weapon systems and then employing them.
The military says it's on track to train more than 9,000 conscripts by the end of this year, and is working to give this generation of soldiers the skills they need to defend the country. Fu Huahong and Jaime Okan in Tainan for TaiwanPlus.
Taiwan's Coast Guard has at least one new ship in its fleet, with another close behind. Chris Gorn was at the handover ceremony and reports that the newest ship has a special mission.
The Coast Guard is celebrating the completion of one ship and the launch of another in the northern port city of Geelong. One completed vessel, called the Lianjiang, is being handed over to the Coast Guard. It's named for the county which administers Taiwan's outlying Mazu Islands, just off the coast of China. At the same time, another vessel of the same class is being launched. During the christening ceremony for the ship, Taiwan's vice premier said it was named after the east coast county of Hualien.
那我相信，有这2艘舰艇的加入能够来提升我们海巡的力量来协助我们海巡捍卫主权、维护渔权。
The ships are the third and fourth of 6 planned frigates. Taiwan's Coast Guard hopes they will modernize its fleet amid increasing tensions in the water around the country. China has ramped up military activity in waters around Taiwan in recent years, with incidents between Coast Guard and civilian vessels around Taiwan's outlying Jinmen Islands, some even resulting in deaths. The unveiling of new Coast Guard ships has become a common occurrence in Taiwan as the country continues to bolster its maritime safety capabilities and as the tensions in and around its waters continue to rise. Eason Chen and Chris Gorin for TaiwanPlus.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has confirmed reports that his country's forces have engaged with North Korean troops on the battlefield for the first time.
Першими боями з північно-корейськими солдатами відкривається нова сторінка нестабільності.
Zelensky's statement comes after the New York Times reported that North Korean troops fought Ukrainian troops in Russia's Kursk region. The Times cited a U.S. official who said a significant number of North Korean troops were killed. In October, the U.S. Defense Department said North Korea has sent an estimated 10,000 soldiers to help Russia's war on Ukraine. Protests broke out in Tel Aviv on Tuesday after Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu fired his defense minister Yoav Gallant. Current Foreign Minister Israel Katz will replace him. Netanyahu and Gallant had frequently clashed over the war in Gaza and hostage negotiations with Hamas. The Prime Minister tried to remove Gallant from his post last year, but reversed his decision following nationwide protests. Taiwanese and Australian firefighters are ready to ignite excitement with the release of their 2025 charity calendar. Sandy Chi has the details.
The Australian Taiwanese Firefighters 2025 calendar has officially been released, marking the first time ever heroes from the 2 countries have collaborated. And now for the calendar, 6 Taiwanese firefighters flew all the way to Australia for the photo shoot.
For 5 years, we've had a very strong bond and friendship with Taiwan and the people. And it seemed like we've been working with the fire authorities here on different smaller projects, that we should do a big project, which was a great idea.
For over 30 years, the Australian Firefighters calendar has been supporting the Children's Hospital Foundation, providing funds for research into childhood burns and other charities. With this Taiwan-Australia collaboration announced in April this year, Taiwanese firefighters can now join the effort.
很荣幸啊，就是有这个荣幸可以被放在封面这样。澳洲人真的是很壮，就是只有在身高上面跟他们差不多啊。现场看到他们就是哇，好像就是每个都很大只这样子。
It was really fun. It was such a great experience just to meet the guys from Taiwan. They're all so fit, so strong. Made me a little bit nervous because they're amazing.
Among the Taiwanese firefighters, one in particular stands out, Zhou Peiru, who is the only female featured in the calendar, marking the first time in a decade for a woman to be part of the Australian Firefighters calendar.
其实我觉得蛮有压力，原因是其实澳洲人跟其他男士他们的肌肉线条真的是，我觉得非常的羡慕，然后所以我也只能尽力的展现。那在现场因为都是实火，所以第一次碰的话，其实会有点紧张，尤其是要踩地上会有火，有油花有火的时候会烧到脚。 然后所以就是会胆战心惊，但是还是在他们的协助之下有完成拍摄。
A firefighter's duty is to put out flames, but now with Taiwanese and Australian firefighters working together on the calendar, it looks like things will only get hotter. Klein Wong and Sandy Chi in New Taipei for TaiwanPlus.
Thank you for watching What's Up Taiwan. You can visit the TaiwanPlus website or follow our social media for more stories from Taiwan and around the world. Finally, we leave you with images of Mu Dang, the famous Thai baby pygmy hippo, predicting a Trump win in the U.S. election before in-person voting began. I'm Leslie Liao. Take care and see you next time.
From industrial parks in Taiwan to here in Vietnam, we're bringing you the latest in tech and business news right here on TaiwanPlus News.